Hello friends, welcome to my channel. Today we are going to discuss what is for each activity in Azure Data Factory. So let's get started. So for each activity defines a repeating control flow in an Azure Data Factory pipeline. This activity is used to iterate over a collection and executes specified activities in a loop. The loop implementation of this activity is similar to for each looping structure in any programming language like .NET, Java, Python, etc. The item property is a collection and each item inside collection referred and can be accessed by using @item. Don't worry if you're not getting by the definition. We will see by doing practical demo. So let me go to the Azure portal. So my requirement is I have one ADLS account and there I have one container which contains multiple files and I want to copy all the files into the another folder. So let's see how we can do this by using Azure Data Factory. So before this, let me show you the container. So I have one container called lending, and inside lending container I have one folder called input files which contains three files. So I want to move these files into the another folder called output files folder. So let's see how we can implement this by using Azure Data Factory. So let's create one pipeline. Go to the author tab and click on three dots and click new pipeline. Give any name to the pipeline. Foreach example. Now go to the activity windows and search for get metadata activity. Just click and drag it into the canvas. So this activity will be used to get metadata of the files like list of files from the folders or file is exist or not or last modified date of the files, etc, etc. Now go to the get metadata activity. So click on get metadata activity, give any name, then go to the settings, then select datasets. So we don't have any datasets, so let's create. Click on new, then search for data lake storage gen 2, select and click on continue. Select format, continue, give any meaningful name, datasets underscore ADLS underscore input files. Select the link service. Now go to the file system, go to browse, click on lending, then select the folder where our file is available or present. So click on input files and click on OK. Click on OK. Now scroll down bit or in the field list, click on just new button. Select child items from the drop down. Because we want list of files from the folder. So this will return list of files which is available inside the folder. Now our get metadata activity is ready to get the list of files. So let's run and see the output. So click on debug. Let's see. Now our status is succeeded. Go to the get metadata and then click on output and see that we are getting all the files from the folder like customer.txt, customer address.txt and product.txt. If we see our container and go to our input files folder, we have three files: customer.txt, customer address.txt and product.txt. So here we are getting the file list successfully in the child items array. Now go back to the activity window and search for each activity. Just click and drag it. Now connect get metadata activity with our for each activity because we want to pass output of get metadata activity as an input of our for each activity. So now let's configure for each activity. So go to the select the for each activity, then go to settings, then click on items and then click on add dynamic content and use the expression to get the output of get metadata activity. So just scroll down bit and select get metadata activity child items. From here we are getting our list of files. So this will be an array of all files available in our source folder. Now we are done with for each activity configuration. Click on OK. Now let's add copy activity inside for each activity. So click on plus icon and then click add activity and select copy data activity. Now select copy data activity, give any name, copy each file, then go to source. Now select datasets. So we don't have any datasets. So let's create new one. Click on new button. Search for data lake chain 2. Click on continue. Select delimited text. Click on continue. Give any meaningful name. Datasets underscore source underscore ADLS underscore input files. Select link service ADLS. Go to the file system. Landing. Just select input files only and click on OK. Here now our dataset is ready, but we want to pass file name dynamic. So for that we need one parameter inside the dataset. So let's create it. Then click on open. Go to parameters. Click on new. Then give name of the parameter file name. Again go to the connection. Go to the file name. Click on add dynamic content. Select file name and then click on OK. So now our dataset is ready for the source. Now again go to the source tab. Now it is asking me to give the file name. So here we are accessing file name from the for each iteration, which will give us the current item. So click on add dynamic content and then select for each item 1 and current item dot name. Because if we see the output of the get metadata activity, we are getting the file name from child items dot name property. Let me show you. Click on OK button. If we see the output of our get metadata activity, then we are getting the file name into the child items dot name. So if we want to access customer.txt, then we need to write child items dot name. So for the first iteration it will give us customer.txt, then in second iteration it will give customer.txt, some like that. So again go to the copy activity. Our source is ready. Now go to the sync. Again select the datasets. So we don't have any datasets for the destination, so let's create new ones. Click on new. Again search for chain 2. Click on OK, then continue, then delimited text, continue. Now give any meaningful name, dataset underscore ADLS underscore destination. Select link service, click on ADLS new. Now select first OS header. Now in the file path just select landing container only and click on OK. And now we want to store our data in output files folder. So when we run our pipeline, it will check out output file folders are present in landing container or not. If it available, then it writes our data in output files folder, or if it's not available, then it will create new folder for us. So click on OK button. So now our second dataset is also ready, but for these datasets I also want one parameter because I want to give file name dynamics. So again click on open, go to the parameters, create new one, file name. Again go to connection, click on file name, click on add dynamic content, select file name. OK. So now our pipeline is ready. So before running the pipeline, let's validate it. So click on validate. No value provided for each parameter file name. Okay. So again we are accessing value from our for each iteration. So click on add dynamic content and select current item dot name. Okay. So now our pipeline is ready. Click on validate it. So now our pipeline validation is succeeded, or your pipeline has been validated and no errors were found. Now click on close button and let's run the activity. So click on debug. Okay, so our pipeline is succeeded. So let's go to the data lake storage and see our folder and files gets created or not. Let me go to the landing container. Let me refresh it. Let me scroll down. Now here we can see output files. Folder got created inside our container, and inside that folder we are able to copy all the files from our input file folder. So we have successfully implemented it. Now let's understand some important settings for the for each activity. So again, go to the data factory, click on for each activity. Here we can see sequential. So what is sequential? It specifies whether the loop should be executed sequential or parallel, and the by default value is false, means by default is parallel execution. So when we run our pipeline, it runs in parallel, so that you can achieve the fast results. Now you have a situation where you want to run your activity sequentially, like I want to I want to copy first customer data, then address, and then product. I want to run I want to run my pipeline sequentially. So then it can be done by enabling the checkbox. Like we just need to enable the checkbox of sequential. So let me show you on the portal. Let me go to the Azure Data Factory. You can just checkbox the check mark, so that our activity execution has been done sequentially. It ensures that now your activity will run in sequential manner. So let me run the activity again. Now let's see. It runs sequentially. See, only one copy activity gets started. Now second copy activity is started, and then third activity got started. So now our pipeline is running in sequential manner. Now let's again go to the so now our pipeline is running in sequential manner. So now let's go to the for each activity. Here let's uncheck the sequential checkbox. Here we have second option called batch count. So batch count is used to controlling the number of parallel execution. For example, if you want to set 2 parallel execution at a time for each activity, then you can set 2 here. Now let's run the pipeline again. Now we can see that 2 parallel execution of copy activity has been started. It starts another execution when one execution out of 2 is completed. If you do not specify any value here, then by default its value is 20. We can use maximum of 50 concurrent iteration. So this setting used with caution. Let's say if your concurrent iterations are writing in different files, then this approach is fine. But if your concurrent iterations are writing in the same files, then this approach will not work, and that time you can go with sequential execution. Now let's discuss last thing about the for each activity is you cannot use another for each activity inside the one for each activity. Means in this for each activity you cannot use another for each activity. If you click on this add activity, then if I want to add another for each, then it will be disabled for me, because I can't use another for each within the same for each, or within the first for each I cannot use second for each. For the same scenario, you can create two separate pipeline where both pipeline having their own for each activity, and you can call the second pipeline from inside the for each activity of first pipeline using execute pipeline, something like that. Let me create new pipeline. Inside this I can use for each activity. Another for each pipeline, and you can call this for each activity inside our main for each. Something like click on add activity, then select execute pipeline, and inside execute pipeline select execute pipeline and go to settings, and from here we can call our pipeline, another for each pipeline. We can call by using this approach. So I hope you like the content, so please keep supporting this channel by hitting on like button, and do subscribe the channel if you haven't done it yet. It motivates me to create new videos. Thanks for watching this video. See you in next video.